Chapter 6. Jesus Christ, the Anointed King. Jesus and his role could be a controversial subject. What I have written below are my beliefs or perspectives on this great being. Please accept my apologies if I have offended anyone with what I have written. I would like to make a few observations. 1. Jesus was not a Christian. He was a Jew. I'm not sure he envisaged thousands of buildings called churches and thousands of different sects all calling themselves Christian. 2. Jesus was not his real name. His name was Yeshua ben Joseph, not Jesus. Jesus was a made-up name for the Greek and Roman audience. 3. Christ was not his surname. The better description is Jesus the Christ. Christ comes from the Greek for the Anointed One. In Hebrew, the Anointed One is called the Messiah. In my view, Jesus was an amazing being that incarnated, became flesh on earth to bring about a huge shift in the consciousness of humanity. This shift allowed a completely different timeline to play out. Without this, we would not be able to make the shift into Christ consciousness that is now a real possibility for all of us. Karma. Karma is perhaps a system foreign to Christianity, but to me it makes a lot of sense. To understand it, you need to know that we, the spirit aspect of us, have many lives. Reincarnation is the popular word for having past lives, but again, it is a word that is easily misunderstood. What I believe happens is that when our bodies die, our spirit or soul leaves and enters another virtual reality, a life between lives. This is where we have a review of our lives, and given the opportunity to have another life to be able to clear any karmic debts that we incurred in the past life, or lives. For example, if in one lifetime you were unfaithful to your wife, during the review process, you can choose to take another life to redeem this. You would agree with the other soul, the spirit that was your wife in the prior life, to incarnate again. This time, you marry, but in this life it is the other way around. The wife is unfaithful. You forgive her, and the karmic debt is released. Timeline wars. While the karmic process can be understood relatively easily, it is complicated by timeline wars. Some beings have found a way to travel in time, both forwards and backwards in bodily form. This is different to remote viewing, precognition, etc., where you see into the future or past. With time travel, you go backwards in time and can change things. The advice is not to change things too much, as you may end up causing your own non-existence in the future, i.e. creating a situation where the future you does not exist, which leaves a paradox that is not easily resolved. Apparently, some selfish beings try to change things in such a way that not only did their future selves possibly not exist, but entire species could not evolve. The knock-on effect was huge. This is effectively timeline genocide. Millions, if not billions, of beings had to be uncreated. These were future lives that had been lived by beings. Due to the timeline changes, these beings could no longer exist, and therefore they were effectively removed from the records. Another consequence was that the karmic debt system also became corrupted. Due to timeline changes, it was no longer possible to work out who owes karmic debts to whom. Consequently, the whole karmic system and its redemption became corrupted. The karmic program had to be undone. The book, the one supposedly held by Peter at the pearly gates, or the timeline records, Akashic record, is no longer operational. Consequently, there is no judgment, Christ consciousness. For me, Christ is an epithet which can be applied to any being that has entered and lives from Christ consciousness. Jesus is the best example we have, but other beings may have achieved the same state. The state is living form the consciousness of unconditional love from the perspective of the Creator. As Jesus said, I and the Father are one. Hence it is more correct to say Jesus the Christ. The painting portrays the Christ being, perspectives on Jesus. How Jesus is perceived can depend on the level of consciousness that the perceiver has. This is beautifully explained by Father Thomas Keating and Ken Wilber on a DVD called The Future of Christianity. These levels of consciousness are based on spiral dynamics. Spiral dynamics is a super system for understanding the evolution of consciousness in man. It uses colors to describe each level. It can be applied to the evolution of an individual person, right through to the evolution of societies. It can be used to identify an individual's psychological growth from being born through to becoming an adult. As we each pass through each level in each life, here are the levels: survival level, color beige. At society level, this is survival in small families, caveman days. At personal level, this is a baby, just eating and defecating, etc. Magic level, color purple. At society level, this is where we lived in small groups of families, villages, believing that everything is driven by spirit beings who need to be propitiated, blood rites, superstitions, etc. At personal level, this is as a toddler who believe in dragons, fairies, and Father Christmas, etc. Warrior level, color red. At society level, this is villages become tribes and have tribal kings, leaders who fight among themselves to be the top dog. At personal level, this is as a schoolboy, gangs, mafia wars, etc. Mythic or religious level. Color blue at society level, this is the belief in one all-powerful God, to whom even the kings and chiefs are subservient to. At personal level, this is where young people join political parties, group organizations looking for meaning. Rational level or age of enlightenment. Color orange at society level. This is the creation of nation-states, trading with each other. Reformation of the church. The mindset is competition, enslavement to the corporate power. At personal level, this is university education, the beginning of a modern mindset. Get a job and work your way up the corporate ladder. This is the way to get ahead and win at life. Pluralistic or ecological level, color green. At society level, this is seeing the world as one planet, no hierarchy, all relative, no absolute truth. At personal level, this is waking up to the need to get out of the US versus them mindset of corporate life and live in a green, eco-friendly way. Level 2, which has only very recently arrived in human consciousness. Integral level, color turquoise. The big change in perspective at this level is the ability to see that all levels have some truth and none are absolutely correct. For a more complete explanation of this system, please see Carol Gilligan, who carried out the original research. The system's main proponent is Don Beck. What I like about this system is that it is comprehensive. I can relate to the different stages, and I can see that I passed through each one as I grew up. I can also see these levels at the human collective level of experience as a dynamic within history. At the integral level, you understand the system. It enables you to relate to others who may be at different levels within the structure. As Don Beck makes clear, it is important to use different language at the different levels. For example, it is not going to help to use turquoise-type language when speaking to someone at the blue level. They will think you are a heretic. This book is aimed at people that are at level 2 and are moving up the levels from turquoise upwards. There are apparently many levels above turquoise, as there is no end to the evolutionary ladder. Perspectives on Jesus the Christ. So what does Jesus look like from each of the levels? These are my views on how Jesus would appear to me at each of the different levels. Magic. Jesus as the great magician, able to banish demons. The most powerful spirit master. Warrior. Jesus the King. The great warrior king whose legacy was the decline and fall of the Roman Empire and will come again to establish his kingdom on earth. Mythic religious. The Son of Man sitting on the right hand of the Father. The human God-man at the top of the religious hierarchy. Rational age of enlightenment. Jesus as the great teacher or rabbi that was the founder of the most successful religion. According to one survey, there are more people who say they are Christian than those of any other faith. Pluralistic ecological. Jesus as the solar logos, the solar deity for the planet Earth. Integral. Jesus as all of the above, but more than this, Jesus as the transcendental being, incarnating in Christ consciousness. You can see from the above that a lot of this book has been written from the perspective of integral or turquoise level.